Hey Aquarius, I'm Empress Rose and welcome to your general reading. So these readings aren't going to necessarily resonate with every single Aquarius out there, but you should be, hopefully you'll find some sort of thread in here and I catch your wave a little bit. If I don't, check your moon, rising, and Venus signs for additional hints and information about what your week might look like. So all the cards are pre-shuffled and prepared, so let's get going. All right, what do we have for Aquarius today? What do we have for Aquarius? Okay. Interesting way to give me those cards. I wonder if there's anything about that. Whew, you are holding back. You do not want to talk about something. This is your voice. This is... you've thought very deeply about something. You're looking towards the future, but you're not talking. You have your hand on this bird's throat chakra, and the bird is blue, which is the throat. And yeah, you're holding back. You're not talking about something. You really want to. You might also really want to go somewhere or go. I mean, this bird wants to fly. And she is actively holding it back. So there's either a message that needs to be sent or a journey that you need to go on, but you're not. And then this has message because this is also like, can you hear me? This is a frustration about communicating emotional things. It's a frustration about communication and not feeling heard, not feeling understood, and feeling a little bit hopeless about it. And you keep trying, but it's not working. And maybe, but in this one, you're holding back communication. In this one, you've attempted communication and it hasn't worked. And you don't feel like anyone's hearing you. Maybe it's because you're not communicating, or maybe you've communicated, it didn't work, and now you're like, fuck this. Just never mind. If you didn't want to hear me the first 400 times I said that, you're not going to hear me now. I think this is about communication because my voice just got really randomly restricted here. And the way the cards came out too, where it was very different than I usually experience. They flipped over but then went back into the deck. So that's always something too that I like to pay attention to. It's part of the message. So we're moving to the Moonology deck for, this is always such a, this deck, I love it, but it's so direct, and sometimes it's too direct. It's like, well, can we get a little more there? So we'll see this is what we have here. Adjustments are required, third quarter moon. So this is, you know, as you're bringing something, it's closer to fruition than it's ever been before, but you're going to have to put in a little extra work and make some adjustments. You're not quite there yet. You got to fine tune some things, figure out some more things, do a little more work. Looks like you're kind of exhausted with the work that you've already put in. And this is saying you're going to have to put in a little more. And what I find interesting about this is when I was pre-shuffling this deck, this card also flopped out on that time. So it definitely wanted to communicate with you and was willing to come out a couple times. It was the only card that flipped out, and it flipped out twice in a row. So how many cards are in that deck? 44. So 2% chance, maybe a little more. 2.5% chance. Okay, so I mean, less of it flipping out. I mean, that's anyway. It's pretty statistically unlikely that this thing flipped out twice in a row and was the only card to flip out both times. So it is very clear message. And it might actually be like, try again. You tried communicating. It wasn't clear. You weren't understood. You're now holding back. And this might be like, maybe adjust your message, maybe adjust and try again, because it did come out twice. So maybe it is saying like, you know, it's okay to repeat this if you didn't feel heard the first time. All right, now the Santa Muerte deck. All right, Aquarius, this is your past, this is your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. You have completions of cycles. You have 2 tens here. And then otherwise a pretty balanced spread of no major arcana here. So, okay. It's just a week then. Okay, in your recent past, you have this Ten of Cups. You've had a very fulfilling, heart-filled a situation was very fulfilling at some point. Very heart-filled, very emotionally fulfilling and satisfying. It was in some ways these tens, we have the Ten of Pentacles here, so that's going to reference the part I'm going to talk about here, but also the Ten of Pentacles is more obvious in this deck about this. But this is as emotionally satisfying as the situation is going to be for you, and that's but it is extremely emotionally satisfying. You felt loved, you felt cared for, you had a village around you, you felt really good and really peaceful. In your present situation, you have this Two of Pentacles. So there's a negotiation going on here. And these are two things that need constant negotiation with each other. Constant bargaining, constant negotiation. There's money exchanged here. When these two elements, and they can be work-life balance, two people, they can reference a couple, when they're in sync, it is the three-legged race card. It's when these things are in sync, they go fast, they go far, they win the race. When they're not in sync, it's just a disaster. So, and it's something you're just constantly having to negotiate and renegotiate and renegotiate. This is probably where this is coming in. This looks like this is a constant battle. Not necessarily a battle, but a constant negotiation that needs to always be being managed and whatever. And that's clearly why you're exhausted. You've been negotiating endlessly with somebody or trying to balance something. In your inner landscape, you have this Knight of Cups. So what I find interesting about this card in this position is this horse always represents to me your spirit, your instinct, your intuition, which is your inner landscape. And that's heading out of this garden of familiarity through this threshold. Your mind, however, is looking back. Your mind doesn't see where you're going. You're not watching where you're going, but your heart is, and your heart's going, and your heart's moving forward, and your mind is like, you're really focused on something in the past, and your heart's already out, already left this garden, your heart is crossing this threshold, and your mind is trying to figure out what's happened, what the past is. You're not looking where you're going in your internal landscape, and you are, but you are going. There's an internal part of yourself. Your instincts are moving forward, moving on, but your mind is kind of holding back, I think. You have a message here you're taking into the future. This could be things you've learned. This could be this message that you keep trying to communicate, or you're not quite ready to communicate it, but you're on your way here to communicate it. So that's what's going on internally. You're of two minds, and you have your message with you. Yeah, it's coming with you. You're bringing it somewhere, but you haven't. You're just getting started, and you're kind of two minds here, which is exactly what we have here. We have communication and exhaustion and no communication. So I think you're tired of communicating. You're not sure you should even keep trying, but your heart's already moving in a certain direction. Your mind's really focused on the past. And you do have this message you're bringing out of the garden, or out of this place that you've been, this Ten of Cups that was pretty fulfilling for a time. In your environment, or what's at issue here, is this Queen of Wands, but we take her in the reverse. This is really funny. I was fine before I turned on this video for you guys. Okay, that's not helping. Okay. Queen of Wands here. She's left the light on for you. She's very inspired. She's calling you forward, but we're taking it in the reverse in this position. You're not feeling inspired. You're not feeling called forward. You're very much not feeling inspired. In fact, you're very uninspired by this whole situation. It's a little bit depressing, pretty depressing, actually. You're not feeling it. You're just like, you can't seem to communicate. You can't seem to get anyone to listen to you. And this is just really uninspired, a little depressed, probably, maybe a lot depressed. Your inspiration is not calling to you. She doesn't have your name right. She's, you know, that candle isn't lit. Yeah, you're feeling pretty depressed here. You're not getting the inspiration. In your environment, there is possibly a female, gender doesn't really matter here, but there's somebody in your environment, the Queen of Cups here, that's offering you their love. It's very beautiful. It's a full love. It's a peaceful, tranquil love, and they are bringing it to you and they're offering it to you. So there's someone in your environment that wants to give you love. I'm not sure you're seeing it. I'm not sure you're experiencing it. But this is someone in your environment. They're trying to give you love. You may not be able to see it right now. You do have actually a lot of cups. There's 3 cups here, which is plenty of cups in one reading. No swords. So that's cool. That's good. Nobody really likes swords. I mean, they bring like a nice clarity of thought, but that's not what we're dealing with here. So in your to-do list, you have this 4 of Wands. So this is a leveling up. This can be the farmer bringing her wares to the market. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it is sort of a marriage commitment card. Overall, it's a leveling up card, bringing your wares. You've grown, you've farmed here, you've worked here, you've grown some things, you've got some flowers, you've got some inspiring things, you've made your little liqueurs, you've got your treasure chest here ready to receive what's due you, and you're ready to sell. You're at this market and you have some passionate. So this is saying that, you know, bring what you have, bring your inspiration, bring what you have, bring what you've been working on, bring it out into the public, bring it to market. Level up. You don't just have to stay on the farm and keep the farm here, but bring this out into the public. Whatever you've been working on, it's time to bring it forward, and it's time to publicly give it to the world, you know? And so this, can you hear me? And this, like a bird, this is kind of saying, you know what, it's time to set up your shop. Maybe, you know, adjustments are required. So, you know, look at your display, figure out what you want to bring. Maybe you brought something in the past and it wasn't quite what the farmer's market wanted. So maybe bring something else that you've been working on into the farmer's market. So of you know, your community and the people that care about you. And this is very much like harvest. It's time to take something that's yours. And I think it's calling you out of this energy right here that you've been in. You need to make some adjustments, but I think you need to be public again, and to, you know, bring your wares to the farmer's market, to be ready to sell things, or take what's yours, or reap your benefits, reap the rewards for the work that you've put in, and come out of this sort of depressed, this is never going to work mentality. And then a possible outcome, this 10 of Pentacles to me is literally moving, or something like that. These feet have to do with, you know, grounding, the ground beneath our feet. And we have this 10 of Pentacles. We have this farm here that's completely dilapidated. So I see a treasure chest. I see that you have treasure of some sort. And it could be this message, or it could be actual money. There's a lot of money, even though we don't have a lot of pentacles in this. We have the 2 pentacles. You do have a certain amount of money here, and a certain amount of something. You have something of value that you've gotten out of this situation. So the 10 of Pentacles to me is the most like, it's a physical thing. It can be like you're done with where you're living, you're done with where you're at. It can be like you're done with the relationship you're in, you're done with your job, something like that, or some aspect of your job, because obviously not every Aries is going to be quitting their job this week, or moving, or something like that. But it is like an end of a cycle, something that served you, something that's, but there's nothing more for it to give you. And this is like, take your treasure chest and move on to new ground, a new place. And that's what you're looking for. What you have here, this village right here, this village full of love that at some point was exactly what you needed. It's done. It's dilapidated. You've gotten everything you can out of that village. So we have a completion of a cycle starting, and then a completion of a cycle, fullness of an emotional cycle starting, and then this completion of the cycle at the end. So I think this is possibly where you're going, is completing this physical cycle, taking your message or your money to the next place. It's time to move on from this. Wherever you've been has outlived its usefulness. There's nothing more here. The land is barren. It's time to move. It's time to move on to the next thing. So I'm really seeing you being sort of called out of this sort of depressed, this is never going to work mode, or no one ever listens to me. I keep trying to communicate. I'm not understood, which are all like real things that happen to all of us, where we try to communicate and the people around us don't understand us, don't even listen to us. This isn't just in your head. This is like real things that happen. And I think you're being called to make some adjustments, just try communicating again, try something again that hasn't been successful in the past. I think you need to try it again and move on, complete the cycle. All right, Aquarius, I hope that was helpful. I hope you end up having a really great week. Remember, this love is here for you. This love and compassion and care is being gifted to you right now, hopefully to pull you out of this depressed energy. So adjustments are required. You're almost there. You're getting closer. And you probably just need to think through a couple things, switch up your farmer's market booth a little bit, and then really get into the business of moving on and moving forward into a better, more fertile ground for you. So, all right, Aquarius, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for the comments, likes, and subscribes. I really appreciate it. It's pretty awesome, pretty cool. Thank you.